All you have to do is keep it running. Real simple thing. If it breaks, no more money. That's the only condition. So you've got a house, 250 grand. Everybody, I assume, would have house insurance. Nobody wants the tornado or fire to happen to it. Correct? Okay, so 100% there. Car insurance, we've got that $40,000 car. If the meeting happened last week and you went off the road and totaled your car out, you wouldn't want to go get another $40,000 car and pay cash for it, I assume. So we've got insurance for that, correct? So what if we could insure that cash machine that you've got in the backyard that pays out $4,000 or $5,000 or $8,000 a month? Would we insure that against breakage as well?
Yes.
Okay, 100% on that?
Yeah.
Perfect. So that cash machine is basically the same thing. It's your paycheck. So as realtors, I understand we don't always get paid once a month. That's not the reality of it. But your income every month, we assume you're going to sell something every month. If not, your yearly average, comes out to a certain amount. So if your ability to earn income went away completely, how would that affect your lifestyle? Would the house still be there? Would the car still be there?
I don't know.
No joke, pay that note.
Maybe there might be a medical problem that caused the inability to earn income again. And if there was a medical problem that stopped the cash flow from coming in, there might be medical bills associated with it. There might be medical insurance that you're paying for so that you don't have to pay the couple $100,000, because we're all afraid of if that would happen, we don't want to have to pay for a surgery or something like that out of pocket, have possibly bill collectors, that type of thing coming. But if the income stopped, if that cash machine stopped working, we might not have the money to pay for the medical insurance, and then we have also the big bill. So that's kind of the idea. Brian insured himself, then had a medical problem. It wasn't he didn't plan for it, other than plan for the event of if it happened. So if the tornado happened, if the fire happened, we have the house insurance. Of course, we've got the car insurance that Brian kept the meeting on for last Thursday for those type of events.
Mm-hmm.
And then in addition, you'd have disability insurance to insure yourself. Example, the cash machine that kicks out money every month to you. So if you're in a spot where your monthly or yearly income is important to your lifestyle or keeping your house or keeping the things that you find important in your life, feel free and talk to me or somebody else that is an expert on the disability insurance side of things.
Yeah, and again, I appreciate what Dan's sharing. This is that business ownership mentality. You've got to ensure, because you're all the CEO of your own company, and you might be on somebody else's team, but you're really your own CEO. And think, forward thinking is planning like that. In 1992, I just knew that the illness I had, it happens to 1 in 2 men, and I knew it wasn't going to be me. And then one day it was there. And I, thank God that, in the early 90s that I made, it was like $90 a month is what I was paying back then. But it allowed us really to stay in the house, and in a lot of things that Dan was saying. Had to replace the cash earner. So the machine kept coming in. So anyway, Dan, I really appreciate talking about it. All right, again, just, it wasn't up here for Dan. Dan was just explaining it. And if you know your insurance agent, this is just close to my heart to do that. And I just appreciate him kind of speaking into it today. So thanks, Dan. So we left off talking about Serena in Colorado, making a presentation. Again, this is part of Salesforce 5. We're looking for, it's 5 people that can be an advisor to you that can send you $25,000 to $50,000 per year in a single relationship. Right? Now it's a matter of getting you equipped to do it. Okay? Equipping is really, what do I say? How do I do it? What's the follow-up? Right? And the and what the marketing materials are. And if you, today I'm obviously going to offer something. And you can either look at these ideas and create them yourself, or with the offer we're going to do, it comes with a website, comes with all the marketing pieces, comes with all the training that you need, how to get introduced, how to handle yourself at the meeting, how to handle yourself with a follow-up, how to service that person, because we don't want to just hit and run, have that relationship. We get somebody sending us business. Somebody who's sending us 50 grand a year needs more time, more of our time. But how many people do you need to hit your financial goal? I needed, at least 10 people, right? So then we're going to go to this concept called industry specialist. So if you are a lender, this would be lenders for you. You're a realtor, find realtors. Insurance, find other insurance people. Because in the 80-20 rule, there's plenty of people that need help. If you go, well, where would I ever find another realtor that would join my team? I'm not that high of a producer. Well, in the 80-20 rule, they're everywhere, aren't they? And insurance people, I think it's the 80-20 rule there too, isn't there? Right? Lending, I got it right? 80-20 rule in all sales, all industries. So if you said, well, what if I found 5 agents in your field, 5 insurance agents? What's a good insurance agent worth? We only have 5 people that are here are insurance agents. We have a team. But what would you say? I remember you were AAA. If you had 5 reps on your team, and they're going to be average producers, all right? What are they worth to you? If you had 5 people in a year's income, is it 5 grand, 10 grand, 15, 20? What is it? One person. So $15,000 to $20,000. So how many people should you have on his team? We'll go with 5, all right? And you don't get all 5 at once, but over a span of time. Again, this took me 7 years for me to go from about 10 grand every 30 days to 100 grand every 30 days. A span of 7 years. You don't have to do everything on this list, but you got to do something on this list, because this is the ownership mentality. Because you can walk away from your business and transition it to somebody else when you have lead referral sources. If we don't have lead referral sources called our SOI, who's going to buy your database? Is anybody going to buy your database? No, but you can introduce people to your lead referral sources at the right time. So we got $15,000 per person, and somebody, 15 times 5 is 85, what is that? 75. Where's my calculator? So 75,000. So the question is, how far are you away? Do you have any people on your team right now? Okay. Can you see, again, it's a matter of leadership, casting the vision, getting with other people, whether it's in your firm or in other firms, because there's so many people in 80-20, it isn't really that hard to do. All you have to do is cast the vision of a business model like this and get introduced to 5 people that you know. Rick and I, Rick, you've been licensed, you've been full-time since September of last year, and he served in the military. Thank you. Yeah, he retired from the military. He looks really young, but he's not. He's like 80. But one of the very first things we're doing with Rick, is that we're trying to build a team right out of the gate. Right? Isn't that, you just made a move to a different company? Part of it, without saying his last name and without talking about the company, was he took the idea to leadership and they actually said, no, we don't want you doing that here. So there's going to be obstacles. And where people say to you, first of all, go back to the office, people are going to say to you, you can't do that. It's a bad idea. And I've known people that I've coached that basically have been told by other people, the naysayers on the side of the parade, that says, this can't go, this won't work. That's a bad idea. Just go back out in the field and do what we're supposed to do. You're going to find those naysayers. And working his presentation out to go to his leadership, he was told, no, we don't want you building like that. It was just do it the way we've always done it. Well, that was somewhat limiting belief on his abilities. And he and I have so much more belief in his abilities. And the new people he's with are basically, I think you said, kind of giving the keys to the office to do. What'd you say?
Do whatever I want.
Do whatever you want. Build this. We support you. Because we never thought of it. So he's in the right environment. So again, industry specialists, if you're a lender, who's a lender here? I haven't called on. I saw the gentleman over there. You're a lender. In the purple shirt. So if you had 8 loan officers on your team, average producer, we're not talking about superstars. What's a good LO worth to you per year who's at a different firm right now that might come to your firm that can pull in maybe just 3 transactions a month?
Good would work.
Yeah, if they were on your team, what would your economic benefit be?
Invaluable.
Pretty valuable?
Yeah, invaluable.
Invaluable, wow. And if we had to quantify that? All right, let's call it $20,000 a year, which is in the range of pretty much any LO that I've spoken with. All right, about 20 grand. So, so it sounds like, again, your extended sales force, because you're the executive sales force at the company, and the goal is to find an extended sales force. In all 3 of these groups, these areas, we've got to find the extended sales force. So your extended sales force is basically, over a certain period of time, bringing in 5 LOs and teaching them this concept. And you go, well, how do I meet with those people? All you're going to go do is go to Starbucks, have a friend introduce you, and you want to cast a vision and get that person's opinion. All I want to do is get your opinion. So when you're at these meetings, just want your opinion. This is not a recruiting meeting, because it isn't. We're just sharing an idea. What happens is the person usually becomes so intrigued, they want a follow-up meeting. Just like the attorney did with this other agent. The attorney was so intrigued about this meeting, says, can we have a one-on-one together? All right? So we have $100,000 coming from our stream of people from a lender's point of view for industry specialists. Again, these are people in your industry. So from a realtor standpoint, Jim, so if you had 5 agents join your company and you had a business model for them, what's an agent worth to you? Again, an average producer, we're not looking for a superstar or anything like that. What's it?
About 40,000 for buyer's agent.
So a good, again, we're not we don't want to call them buyer's agents, if you will. These are our extended sales force. Because buyer's agent means it's a single thing they're doing. And what we want to teach people is, because a lot of times people feed their buyer's agents, and I had 12 agents on my team. And my objective was to equip them to do business and not just be a buyer's agent. But if we're saying an agent's worth 40 grand, and I'm going to drop that number to 20, because that was my personal experience. My last year in the business, when GCI was 1.3 million. It's an agent here in St. Louis. And $480,000 of the GCI came directly from my 12 extended sales force. And that means they were 50-50 split on my team. And that means I grossed $240,000 from my extended sales force. They were not only buyer's agents. I'm going to show you what we did using this board over here shortly. How to equip your extended sales force to bring in their own business, because what we don't want to do is be the lead generator. Because it's easier to find lead generators and equip them than it is to ever become a lead generator. And I mean, I've interviewed so many people across the country. Lead generation is one of the most difficult things for people to do to get to the next level. What was the easiest thing to do was to build an extended sales force, right? So basically, what we're hearing is somewhere between $75,000 and $100,000 year over year to be able to lead a team when we're talking about industry specialists. Okay? Any other questions? Everybody with us? And we're moving in that direction? Doable. I like that. Doable. And so how do we get there? We need people that need income right now. And again, in the 80-20 rule, there's a ton of people that need income now. They have a can-do attitude, and they're struggling a little bit. They need help. They might be in the room today. I won't ask for a raise of hands. But the objective is simply get introduced, show the plan, guide them, and guide them when they're still with a different company. As a Coldwell Banker agent, I was guiding agents that were at different firms. I was just kind of filling the gap that they weren't getting filled maybe by their broker. Just fill in the gap. And eventually inviting them, and then they joined the team. My objective, my responsibility was to equip them. And so often we hear people that are building teams that the leader really didn't equip them. Gave them the opportunity and said, now you're on your own to go do these things. But that the leader, which is all of you, is to be able to say you have a responsibility to lead, not just recruit. And we have the system for you to be able to do that. Lastly, in our in our producers, by the way, I don't know if you caught this, we have, it's called IRA. It's called the, what's the word I just used about, hello. You think I remember this, I created it. IRA is industry specialist, the I, industry, the R are real-time producers, and the A are advisors with influence. And again, we're thinking about a financial exit strategy in this business. Don't we need an IRA? Or are we getting paid as independent contractors? Are they a retirement plan for us? No, none of these industries have retirement plans that I'm aware of, especially for straight commission. There's no retirement plan. I really see this as a financial exit strategy that creates cash flow once you're done in the business and you want to go do something else, that you can still cash flow from this because you can have a person transition and step in for you. So the real-time producers, again, we talked about this. For a lender, it's a real estate agent because they're there when the contract's being filled out. And when the thing is, when we're a real estate agent, there is no real-time producer. We are it. Everybody wants us. In that transaction, the inspector wants us, the appraiser wants us, the survey company wants us. Everybody wants us because what do we control? The client. We have the client. We can influence the clients. Where they're going to go, where they're not going to go. And again, that's why we're teaching bridge members in these communities to basically say, you are the extended sales force for the realtors. You're the extended sales force for almost all these other industries. They want you. The insurance people, actually, they'd like to do business with you, but you know what? Theirs are really the lenders, because the lender is the one pulling all that stuff together. So as you identify who is your real-time producer based on your industry that you're in, and again, if I'm a lender, again, we said, what's a good realtor worth to us? We answered that question already. What is it? What's a realtor worth?
Range from 15, 30, and 20.
20,000. Thank you, Steve. He remembers stuff that I forgot I said. And so as far as $20,000 for one good realtor, that's why the bridge members are here today. They're here to make sure that you're equipped, and as they go out into the sales force in the weeks to come, the months to come, and you're wondering why these lenders or title why home protection plan people, why are they there? And why does Beal do what Beal does at the home protection plans? She is there not just about her product. Does everybody know Beal? She's a household name, I thought. Yeah. And, yeah. But you know, her objective is not about the protection plan. It's about equipping. That's what she's so passionate about, when she's out there talking to people. She's equipping the real estate agents because they are her extended sales force. She needs you to be successful. So what happens? You sell more protection plans because it's a numbers game. She understands the more people that she helps, not understand the product, home protection plan, but understand the industry that we're in. She's out equipping people doing that. So, as we went through, the IRA, essentially we're just looking for relationships that we know. Let's just drop it down to $10,000 a relationship. We've had higher numbers. If you're looking for a business model that can generate 150,000, I'm being conservative based on the numbers that we talked about in here. Even if you just took in the IRA, you just found advisors with influence. You just did that. And you did not build a team of industry specialists to join you. That line was a minimum of $50,000 increase. Based on these numbers we talked about today, was more like 75 to 100 with 5 relationships. So if you're looking for a boost in your business and you're looking for a way to do it, you're going, well, how do I identify that group? We're going to get introduced to them, put the right marketing pieces together, practice that script, and go get those relationships of people who can send you 5 to 10 deals a year. And then hopefully eventually find a person to transition this all to and walk away. That was my goal when I had that wake-up call in 1992 when I was no longer the manager. I said, I've got to build this like the ownership did so I can walk away and I can cash flow. And that's exactly what happened. And Kathy Irvine is one of the people who've done it, but it's really rare that you hear somebody that's independent contractor in the industry transition out and sell their business. We just walk away. And I think it can happen for all of us. You don't have to build all 3 legs that I was talking about, having the real-time producers, building your own team, but a minimum to find advisors. Because you have a testimonial like Tom's who says, half my gross revenue this year came from one idea. And to start building on this really now, because is there any reason we set this aside? Is that it? One person? Do we feel like we're going to move forward with this?
Yes.
All right. All right. And what would your reason not be today? We'll get to that. All right. So what I want to do is transition into prospecting. I think prospecting is like a 4-letter word. You know? FSBO, it's a 4-letter word. Who wants to chase FSBOs the rest of their career? How many people here are realtors, first of all? Keep your hand up if you called upon a FSBO in the last 12 months. Okay, so we got about half the room, or an expired listing, or held an open house. Okay, or worked internet leads. Internet leads. Well, not as many. Oh, okay, there we go. So we're still prospecting. Those are pretty much it. Insurance people, prospecting of any kind in your business. Just your hand go up if you did some prospecting. Okay, so he admits it. Joe's hand went up late. Did anybody see me? So we're going to talk about the prospecting, but I really would encourage you to see that this is your last season. Prospecting, this you got one last time. It's really for 3 reasons we're going to talk about prospecting, and that is if you're just starting out, we need 6 to 24 months of prospecting, and then you're walking away from this river, hopefully never to return. If you need a boost in your business, things just aren't going well, and you need a quick influx of business, go to the prospecting river because it's the fastest source of business. The prospecting river is the quickest thing to do, but nobody wants to live there because we're in the game of chase. And chase is a weak position to be in. We're chasing business, it's a weak position. Having it come to us is a position of strength. And that's the Salesforce 5. But there's a time that we need to prospect. And one last reason to prospect is if you want to increase your average price point. And I'll speak to like realtors on this particular thing. If you want to jump from, let's say, a $200,000 price point to $700,000, what's the fastest way to do it? Get better friends? No, you've got to go to that marketplace, and you can go to that marketplace quickly. Some of the agents that I was coaching, if they wanted to get to the 7-figure price point. And so I said, well, one of the fastest ways is really to start holding open houses. Because where are you going to meet in a $1 million listing? $1 million buyers. With what? $1 million houses or whatever to sell. So you can instantly go to a higher price point, right? So I'm going to walk you through just a few examples of this. As I said, it's only done when necessary. And I think people, with the amount of hands that went up in the room, almost every hand went up. Apparently it's necessary. People are doing it because they're not getting enough business from other sources, right? okay? So I want to share this idea with you. And for my extended sales force, we had them holding open houses because it was an easy thing to train on, all right? This is really also for the farmer personality. The farmer personality says, I want the business to come to me. The hunter personality says, I'm going out and get it, okay? And that's, you know, as realtors, that's the FSBO. You know, why is the buy owner a good idea to chase? They're moving. They have a sign in their front yard. Same with expired listings. I mean, you can actually call upon a FSBO tonight and list them tonight. Can you call your sphere of influence and get a piece of business out of them this week if you had to? I mean, you had to. Somebody you know has been kidnapped, and they will not release that person, that family member. Now, it depends who it is. Yeah, and until they, yeah, keep them, Uncle Charlie. But they won't release that person until you bring a new client in. And you had to do it, I'll give you a week. Could you do it if you had to? Yeah. Okay, we got a yes, but can you do it next week as well? Yeah. In the next week, and the next week? We got one person who says yes. But for most of us, it's exhausting. And they'll be tired of what? Hearing from us. How many times can you call upon your database each week and say, I need a unit now? No matter what our industry is. So we can't count on our sphere of influence, right? So so we need a quick influx of business. We got to go back to the prospecting river. And what I want to show you here is my extended sales force. One of the things I trained them on was holding open houses. Why? Because it was, you know what's going to happen. You could be not too bright holding an open house. Will people still come in if you're not bright? Yeah, but they'll still come in. And I was in an open house recently in my neighborhood, and one of the top 5 agents in St. Louis was holding the open house. And I was a little dumbfounded that this person was there, but she was. So I just kind of chatted and whatever the case. And she's got a large team. So, you know, sometimes agents do open houses to do what? Appease the seller. How, you guys knew that line, yeah. Appease the seller. And that might have been the reason, because this person didn't need the individual business coming from open houses. So we do not want the tail wagging the dog, holding open houses. In fact, at listings, I would share with the seller, if you want me to hold open houses, I'm not your guy. I'm not it. You know, we find the agent with the buyer. We don't find the buyer. When I try to find the buyer, it's a needle in a haystack. My objective is to find the agent with the buyer, and you should hire somebody else if you want me to fib. I'm sorry. I did that on purpose. The fib plan is, I'm going to find the individual buyer for your property. The fab plan is, I'm going to find the agent with the buyer. Fib and fab. Now, if you ever competed with me and wondered, what was he saying? I was basically saying I can't find the individual buyer for your property. I can show statistically I can find the agent with the buyer. Isn't that true that most likely we're going to co-broker anything? But what's the listing presentation mostly about? Finding the buyer. So I just said, you know what? It's not true, first of all, so I'm not going to say it any longer. So it was a way to eliminate my competitor based on what they were saying. How do I know what they were saying? Because I said it for years. Not going to find the buyer any longer. Anyways, that's part of the listing presentation. We kind of go over that this afternoon. If you're wondering, should you stick around? We have a great presentation on how to do lead conversion later today, and both in the marketing side to present yourself, as well as in pricing, how to convince people about the right price for the asset called home. And the reason LO should stay for this as well is because your extended sales force, in some cases, doesn't know how to do it. Do what? Price properties to sell. We know that one of the largest offices in St. Louis is selling 53% of their inventory. They're failing at 47% of the time. What's the problem? Communication, pricing, communication. Is it anything else? Is it the marketing plan that failed? No. because I was the #2 agent in St. Louis. I was the #1 male agent for 5 years, #1 bald agent. But there was always a lady in front of me. And it's one of those times, Keith, I forgot what's driving that again. The marketing plan. Is the marketing plan what succeeds, or is it the communication? And this afternoon, we're going to really go into that. What's the communication plan that we get people to follow our lead, where we don't do what the seller wants, but the seller does what we want, right? And hopefully what we want is to sell the property, but not get multiple offers the first day. I want to tie that down, because I'm not a proponent of getting a listing and getting 4 offers the day it's listed. Because what do? We underprice their money. And we are really movers of money. We are movers of money in this industry. And we are not marketing geniuses. None of us are. As the top agent in St. Louis, I was never a marketing genius. I'm just moving money. No matter what company we're at, what brand we're at, a lot of times we go in and say we have a better marketing plan than those guys. Those guys stink. We're great. And then we take the listing, we overprice, it doesn't sell. What was it? The marketing plan or the price, the communication? Right? Again, we're going to really unpack that this afternoon, how to present to people that are reluctant to accept the truth. Okay? So here's what we did. Now, this thing I have to show you used to be a board I got from Michael's department store or craft store. And we just put all the stuff on the kitchen table on a presentation board like this. That was our kiosk. We're at an open house. My recommendation is we do not follow the buyers around. Anybody ever hold an open house and the buyers, they go, oh, can you give us the tour? Or would they rather go on their own? On their own. But what do realtors do? Hey, can I walk around and show you the property? And these are Vanna White. These are vinyl windows. These are 6-panel doors. This is beige carpet. You guys live in the area? You have a house to sell? All those different kind of things. So, of course, we know how open houses operate. So the system we put together, which again, you can do something very similar to this, but we've got the package together, and that is, imagine you had a spokesperson in the master bedroom for you, right? Somebody in the master bedroom that was with you at every open house that was speaking about you in the kitchen. Would that be helpful? Just say yes. Yeah. And so what we did, we've got a DVD of me speaking about the agent who's in the, I don't use you by name, but I'll say that the agent that's in the kitchen understands the movement of the economy. The agent in the kitchen understands about depreciation and appreciation, and I suggest that you talk with that person. In the meantime, there are these placards that are also speaking for you, because there's questions you want to ask. For example, ask me about 5 other houses for sale in the area. Because we don't want to follow them around, but we want them to come back to us. So how do we get them to come back to us? Well, we have these different placards. Are you curious about appreciation values in the area? Or depreciation? Would this intrigue you if you're at an open house? Well, the objective is everything was intriguing to the people walking through. Can we speak to them without following them around? Right? And what this program did for me is my extended sales force was bringing in listing business pretty much every single week. I wasn't just having them as buyer's agents and giving them business. I was equipping them so they would bring business in. And again, this is where, as I said, our GCI, our last year was 480 grand. Could you live on that? Okay? But I didn't do it. I didn't do any of it. It was all the extended sales force brought the revenue in. I just had to equip them. So we have these, as well as there's a DVD playing in the master bedroom, just off an inexpensive DVD player or a laptop. And it's basically me endorsing the agent who's in the kitchen and recommending the person walking through the open house go meet with that person in the kitchen who's doing what? Standing at their kiosk, right? And you're going, well, what is this? So, well, that's not much. You can't see these numbers. let me share what it says here. You're all at my open house, and I'm demonstrating this wall here. On the wall, there's a column here. It's all green. That means anybody who bought in these years made money. Anybody who bought, we're almost all red and we're almost solid red. What we have on this chart are people when they bought, when they sold. They all bought in different years, but they all sold recently. That's the similarity here is they all sold right about now, all right? But they bought in different years. So when you bought a stock before the market crashed, like the day before it plummeted, you're going to ride with everybody else, you're going to go down. If you bought a home in 2005, what are you going to do? And you're reselling in the marketplace, you're pretty much going to go down. How do I know? Because when you look at these rows, solid red, the thing was in common are people who bought in those years who resold in this economy. So my objective is at the open house, I'm going to share, is it Rob? Your first name? Bob. Bob. So as Bob's at my open house, I'm just going to share with him, make sure whatever buyer's agent you work with, that you're getting this kind of information. Now I'm not going to say, are you working with an agent, which is a common question at open houses. I go into open houses just for fun. And I try to ask, I ask the agent questions. Hey, what's the appreciation rate in this area? Literally, and also part of the assignment we have for people in training in this program is go to the competitor's open house, or even your own brand. We're going to have you ask a series of questions. The answers will be funny and build your confidence, because you won't believe what other agents say. And one of them, we asked, one of the agents that in my extended sales force, she went on this open house tour, she came back with her stuff, and we got so much laughter out of this. And what was the home appreciation in this area? And the agent said, well, this house backs to a Walgreens, and everybody knows that's a good thing, so we're seeing about 10% per year in appreciation because we back to Walgreens.